technical and menopause.
There you go.
Actually, it was when I was interviewed with Melissa that she helped me figure out my filter.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that because I'm on here so much on Zoom. All right, let's get started again. Okay, so we're going to begin with a grounding and meditation. And I was just talking about the importance of learning astrology, but also learning the elements. The elements are the base of so many different modalities. And so also, when we know more about ourselves, the self-awareness, the self-discovery about ourselves, then we'll become more accepting. We become more accepting of other people and their idiosyncrasies, and then also giving them permission to be who they are. And that's why it's an important part of the Intuitive Coaching Academy training. So this is one of the modules. It's obviously very condensed. We're just doing it in 1 hour. So let's start with the grounding and meditation. So just sitting up nice and tall, close your eyes. And just begin by taking a couple nice deep breaths, long, slow breaths. Dropping into your body. And as you're dropping into your body, connecting first to the element earth. Sinking into the earth. And feeling that connection to the element of earth. Mama Earth, Gaia. And as you're connecting to the earth element, you're connecting to your foundation, your practicality, your relationship with money and finances. You're the person who gets things done, makes lists. And you're connecting to that part of you that you were born into. What was the culture, the traditions that you were born into? We're gathering here from all over the world. So connecting to what is the traditions and the rituals that you were born into that are unique to your area. And then let's draw that earth's energy up, that support, that foundation, and draw it into your body. And let's connect now to the element of air as we breathe deeply into our lungs, connecting to our breath. And it's in the air element that we have this deep desire to learn and grow and speak and teach. It's our relationships. It's movement. So as you're breathing into your lungs, connecting to that part of you that wants to continue to learn more, study, read, speak, listen, and communicate. It's the part of you that gathers your family together, your friends. It's the part of you that maybe does things a little bit differently, thinks outside of the box. Let's move into the element of water, connecting to all the water that's within our body, to movement and flow, as well as deep, still waters. And as we're connecting to our water, we're connecting to our emotions, our feelings, our psychic abilities, and our insight, our senses. Water is sensitive to all of our senses, to our intuition, to our smells, touch, taste, sound, and sight. And knowing that that's okay to be sensitive. And as you're sensitive, you're creating boundaries and looking after yourself in the stillness. And now let's connect to the element of fire, the fire and the passion that burns within us. That desire to show up, the drive to move forward, to live your purpose, to be who you were meant to be in this lifetime. That trailblazer who doesn't want to leave anyone behind, who may be blunt, but speaks truth. As we've connected to all of the four elements, knowing that we all possess all of them in different degrees, different amounts, but just relating to the ones that feel most comfortable for you right now. And allow them to blend into the parts of you. Allow all the four elements to swirl around in your body, in your soul, in your mind, allowing them to blend and move. Knowing the amounts of each makes you unique in your own way, makes you special. Makes you the perfect person to be doing what you're doing in the world. And let's take a nice deep breath into that, your uniqueness. Bringing your hands onto your heart center. Let's just take a breath into all of the special parts of you. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You might want to rub your hands together quickly and briskly, getting some heat into your palms, some energy, and then bringing your arms all the way up to the sky and down through center. Okay, so everybody has their sheets, their astrological charts. If you have them printed off, let's just do a little show and tell. Yay, awesome. Okay, I was gonna take a picture with everybody, but I won't. All right, so again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Right now, I'm going to share my screen with you. And as I was saying at the beginning, this is one of the modules of the Intuitive Coaching Academy training. And I feel like it's really an important part of our training to learn the elements. The elements are the basis of so many different modalities. So they're the basis of of Reiki, of shamanism, of the chakra balancing, human design, obviously astrology, yoga. the tarot and oracle cards, nature practices, Wiccan, paganism, shamanism, indigenous practices, the 7 sacred teachings, medicine wheel, the 4 noble truths, the 4 directions are all based in the elements. So I feel like learning the elements, and today we're talking about earth, air, fire, and water. So learning those 4 elements. In yoga, we also add an ether, which is soul, spirit. But today we're talking about these 4 elements. And so I feel like it's just really important to get a really deep understanding of them first. And so astrology is the alignment of the stars and planets, which affects every individual's moods, personality, and environment, depending on when they were born. And it's great for us as intuitive coaches to connect to our clients' elements so that we can coach that part of them. Yesterday in the Ignite Business training, we brought in, or I guess it was Monday, we brought in our charts and the elements as well, because it can affect us as well when we're in business, how we do business. It just affects all parts of us, right? When we're in our water and we may need, we're in that flow, but then when we need to go into the earth element and get stuff done, right? How do we move from element to element? And as you uncover the shadow of the elements, it's permission to be yourself as you give yourself and your clients permission to be them. Because so many of us have shadows around it. So an example would be, as a fire sign, I had felt shame before around being so driven and so blunt and speaking truth. Right. And, you put your foot in your mouth. And I heard that from a young child. So that was my shadow. And so how do I bring it out as an adult and not feel ashamed of it, but instead embrace that that's who I am. And that's part of why what I do and why I keep doing what I do. Right. We can relate to each other or each of the zodiac signs by understanding the elements that they reside in. The more we understand the elements and the characteristics that go with each element, the more we'll be able to understand our friends, families, and clients with the elements of their sign. And I said all this already, that it's important about learning about the elements because they are the basis of so many different modalities. And learning about the elements is like a blueprint for understanding your own behaviors, but others as well. When you can recognize that someone has a certain element within them, you'll understand their needs and their desires. You'll be more accepting of their ways and compassionate towards their behaviors and the ways speaking and showing up in their truth. So here we have, I think, Melanie, I don't know how it ended that you wrote on here. I don't know. So here we have the signs and their elements. So Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are air. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are water. Aries, Leo, and Sag are fire. Okay, and this handout you are going to get when you get the recording of this call. You'll also get this handout. But just really letting that sink in. Does anybody have any questions around that before I move on? You might want to screenshot this for now, if you don't know this already. Alrighty, so now I want you to look at your chart, and we're going to pick out the elements of the certain aspects of your chart. So I'm actually going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to share a chart because I think you guys need to see this. Okay. Alrighty, so are you seeing a chart on the screen? Okay. So in this square on the side of the chart I sent you, you want to find your sun sign. And then beside the sun, you're going to find which sign it is. So my sun is Sag. So just on a piece of paper, you want to write sun, Sag, and then the element. So Sag is fire. And if you don't know, you can unmute yourself and ask. Does everybody have that written down?
I don't understand what you mean, because it's not so good visible on the, it's so little that, that you have to make it bigger to see what do you mean. It's
On my share screen?
yeah, because it's, yeah, it's not so good visible what you're talking about.
Okay, so
yeah,
can you zoom in? Is that
yeah,
better?
but yeah, I think it's better. But I mean, what you said, the sun, what sun?
So here's the sun,
Yeah, I get it.
and then across here is Sag.
Yeah.
So yours will be different.
Yeah, but it means the whole planet's here. I mean, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, so the sun is the planet, the sign, and then you want to put the sun, the sign, and then the element. So if the element is earth, air, fire, or water, you put that. So Sag is fire. Okay, then I want you to go to your moon and then do the same thing. So your moon, your sign, and then the element.
What's Taurus?
Earth.
Thank you.
Some pretty cool charts came up yesterday. Holy. Melissa was one.
Is this yours we're looking at, Candace, on the shared screen? Is this your chart that you're demonstrating with? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, and then you want to come down here to the ascendant.
Sorry, Candace, what is the element for Leo?
For Leo is fire.
Thank you.
Jill, can you put the elements in the chat? Like put in, actually, maybe I can probably
I can
copy
do it quick if you want me to.
I can probably copy it and paste it here. Let me see if I can
Okay.
copy it and paste it. Then you don't have to type it out. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so then everybody has their ascendant, right? Now we want to go up to Saturn. So your Saturn, your element or your sign, and then the element.
Do you want us to write down the ascendant?
I want you to write all four of them down. I want you to write sun, I want you to write sun, Sag, fire, moon, Aquarius or Cancer, water, ascendant, Libra, air, and then I want you to write Saturn, and then the sign, and then the element, Aquarius, air.
So the ascendant, there's 3 different ones beside the ascendant. Which one do you pick?
Just the first one.
The first one?
Like, see, there's ascendant, and then there's Libra, right there, right beside each other.
Okay. So sun, moon, and ascendant.
And then now Saturn. So then your Saturn is up a bit, like in the middle. And then again, I want you to write your Saturn, and then your sign, and then the element. And then out of your 4, which do you have the most of? Do you have the most of air, the most of water, the most of, or do you have all 4? And then put in the chat what you have the most of.
Candice, I don't understand this. How do I know that the sun is at the fire, right?
Yeah.
And the moon is the air, or what?
The moon, okay, the sun, oh, sorry, sun is, what's your sign with sun?
Vir.
Sorry?
Virgo, Vir, 6 Vir. 6 Virgo, I think.
Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Okay, so Earth.
Oh, because then, yeah. And then moon 1 Sagittarius.
Yeah, Sagittarius is fire.
Fire. Then Mercury, it's Leo.
You don't want Mercury. You want to go straight down to the bottom to ascendant.
What do you ascend? What do you mean?
AC. It says AC. I want to show you on the chart. Here, I've got your chart. I pulled your chart up. So down here on the bottom, AC, and then you have 3 Scorpio, which is water.
So I don't have to write Mercury then?
Nope.
Mercury not. Then I have to do ascendant is 3 Scorpio. And what does it mean?
And then Saturn, Virgo. So that's Earth.
Saturn in Virgo, is it Earth?
Right.
Yeah, and Jupiter and Mars and Venus, I have to do it or not?
No, we're just doing those 4 things. We're doing your sun, your moon, your ascendant, and your Saturn. That's it. Just those 4. And then out of the 4,
sun, moon, and what?
Ascendant, AC.
Yeah.
And then Saturn.
Saturn and Earth. And ascendant is Scorpio, and this is what?
Water.
Water. And
so
now?
So out of the 4, which element do you have the most of?
2 earth and 1 fire and 1 water.
Right, so you have the most of Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so put that in the chat.
I have to write it in the chat?
If you want. You don't have to do anything.
Well, I mean, it's in the same time I have to do a lot of things and to write and to look and.
Oh, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, I'm just gonna look. Okay, so everybody else has gotten it. So let's go through. So Brianna's is water, Debbie is air, Melissa is, Melissa's water, Myrna is water, Sarissa is water, Ileana is, double, or so 2 earth and 2 air. Sarah's water, Jamie is 3 air, 1 fire, so she's air. Nikki is fire, Lisa is earth, Sarissa is water, Brenda is water, Janet is 2 earth, 2 air, and Michelle is fire. Nikki is, you have 1 of each. That's unusual, so that's awesome. That's very cool. And then Jill is air, Val is fire, Alina is earth, Melanie is earth. Oh, Leslie, you have 1 of each as well? Is that right, Leslie?
She's got 2 air.
Air. Oh, gotcha. 2 air, sorry. And Heather is 2 fire, 2 earth. Okay, so now we're going to dive into the elements, and I'm going to share my screen again so that you can really understand. So you can see how you have all of the elements. So it's going to be interesting as you learn each of the elements, but then it's also going to be interesting because you have more of one element than some of the others, right? Most of us have, other than, who was it that had 1 of each? I can't see who it is now.
Nikki Fournier.
Yeah, Nikki. Yeah, you had 1 of each. So that's interesting as well. All right, so just a little brief of what they all mean, what the planets mean. So the sun is a theme of your life. It's your ego. It's your life force. And so my background is I studied 2 years of Western astrology and 1 year of Vedic astrology. And Western astrology, we go by the sun sign. The sun sign is more important. It's when someone says, "What's your sign?" they are always asking, "What's your sun sign?" Right? And so that's our ego. It's our life force. It's what we show the world, right? It's how our first step forward type of thing. But in Vedic astrology, they go by the moon sign. So in Vedic astrology, when they're asking you for your sign, what your sign is, they're going by the moon, which is our emotional temperament. It's our emotions and how we feel. And then our ascendant is our higher self. It's our soul. It's what we're here to do in the world. It's what people see of us and what they, how they see us when we're out and about out in the world. And Saturn is what we don't want to look at in life. It's our life lessons. Saturn is known as Lord of Karma. Saturn can be a stern teacher. It's a principal. It's like, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime? So take a look at what your Saturn is. Like, what is your Saturn? What element is it? Are you supposed to be doing fire? Are you supposed to be doing earth? Are you supposed to be doing water? Are you supposed to be getting into your emotions? So just taking a look at what your Saturn is saying that you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime. And there's no arguing with it. There's no arguing with Saturn. And our Saturn returns. So 28 to 30 is when our Saturn returns. And then we go through a lot of changes. And then we're really asked, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world? And then we go through it again at 58 to 60, 61. Again, are you doing what you're supposed to, what you came here to do in this lifetime? It's what you promised to do. And so then also you're finding what your predominant element is. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the elements, and I'm going to dive into the elements as you relate them to your sun. So again, you might want to take a screenshot of this just so that you can pull it up while I'm going through it again, through each of them. All right, so, okay, I guess we're gonna go a little bit deeper into it. This one you might want to screenshot. All right, so the sun is our ego, our life force. The sun represents our identity, the theme for our life, the vital force that drives us to seek the higher expression of our true self. It's the part of us that wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. So it's our ability to show up in the world and be seen and heard and not to shrink back. As I said, in the Western astrology, the sun, we go by the sun sign, and in Vedic astrology, we go by the moon sign. So our moon is our emotions and how we feel. The moon represents our emotional temperament. This is our comfort zone, our maternal side, and how we express our feelings and vulnerability. This is the powerful feminine energy, which signifies wisdom, intuition, birth, death, reincarnation, and our spiritual connection. So it's more of a water element. And so, like, here's an example. So my husband's moon is in Aquarius. So he likes to have fun. So when things get emotional, he likes to joke and make fun of it, right? And because that is the air sign for him. Saturn, as I said, is the old man at the door. He's the principal who is asking you, what are you doing? And you can't argue with him. It's what you promised to do in this lifetime. It's where you need to get real and manage. And it's often what you don't want to look at. It's the shadow part of us that we don't like about ourselves, right? Or that we have to overcome some of it. And then, as I said, our Saturn returns 28 to 30, and then again at 58 to 60. And when our Saturn returns, it's the biggest turning point of our lives. This is the time in our lives that we undergo big changes. Usually, things happen that are the catalyst for us to pivot in our lives and make drastic changes, and we don't have a choice in it. Take a moment now to think back to the changes. You can even put this in the chat as well. What did you go through at 28 to 30s? I know there's a few of you that aren't that age yet, so beware. But for me, 28 to 30 is when I had my daughter. I separated from my husband. I met my new husband. I left the city I'd grown up in for, almost 30 years and moved to a different city. Like, huge, big changes. We bought our first house, sold our first house, all of those. So big changes. And like I said, we always have free will, but you do get pushed into making a lot of changes. So just take a moment and write that down. So what were some of the changes that you made between 28 and 30? Or that life happened? What happened in your life?
Candice, I didn't understand exactly what do you mean if you said sun, moon, Saturn, and ascendant, because you said, for me, for example, sun is Virgo, but how do I know what does this represent? Because this I didn't understand.
It's Earth.
Yeah, I know it's Earth, but what does it do? Because in the Sun you said theme of your life, ego, life force. How do I know that? What does it mean?
Well, I'm going to go into what Earth means after. I'm going to go into what Earth is and what all of the elements are and how that relates to you.
Okay, because now it's only general.
Yeah, it's going to be general because I can't do every single body individually, right? So you're going to have to interpret what that means for you. But right now, I want to ask you what happened in your life. I mean, I don't want you to answer right now, but what happened in your life, and you guys can write this down, between 28 and 30. Like maybe you had a baby, maybe you moved, maybe you changed jobs and careers. What were some of the changes that happened between 28 and 30? And if anybody wants to put in the chat, go ahead. Okay, Janet said, started questioning who I am. Exactly. Melissa said, 9/11, changed my career, became a federal agent. Wow. Leslie said, I'll be 59 this July. So yeah, what's happening right now, right? What's changes are happening? Sarissa said, had my first baby. Yeah, and that baby will be a catalyst of learning for you, right? Whether they're like, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, or, you know, if they were, you know, easy to deal with or not, but they will be a teacher for you. They will be a catalyst for you to teach or to learn from. Jamie said, had a baby, took time off to be a mom full time. Debbie said, big changes, bought land, built a house, moved to the country, and had to build new friendships and connections. Alina said, starting my art education in the Netherlands. Marina said, got married, bought our second house, had our son. Sarissa said, my younger brother passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's big. That's big. That's life-changing stuff, right? Leslie said, moved from Manitoba to Alberta at 29. Yeah, so, you know, and that's what it's telling us, is that these are big changes, and you don't really, I mean, you don't even think about it really when you're going through it, right? But then when you look back, you think, okay, well, you know, there was a lot of stuff that really happened. And yes, if you had a baby born between 29 and 30, they will be a big teacher for you. Big teacher for you. Alrighty. And then our rising, also known as ascendant, is the most essential part of your birth chart besides the sun and the moon. It's where the sun was rising at the time of your birth. Your present self, your social personality, what you strive for, your physical body, your outward style. It's a major factor in shaping and defining one's attitudes, first impressions, appearance, and demeanor. Yeah, Lisa said, second daughter was born and she has been a big wound so far. Heather said, lost a 5-year-old son in an accident. Oh man. Yeah, like it just changes who you are, right? It's like, you know, you're born and you're living your life and moving along, and then all of a sudden between that period, there's so many big changes that changes who you are. Melanie said, had my second baby, got married, bought our home. Yeah. Alrighty, so now we're going to move into the elements, each of the 4 elements. So I want you to remember, what is your main element, but you have all of this in all of you, right? And then you can even look at some of your other, like if it's maybe your moon is in earth, maybe it's not your predominant element, but maybe your moon is in earth. All right, so earth is the practical element. They're practical, they're patient, they're precise, and instinctive. They are goal-oriented, dependable, hardworking, focused, ambitious, and loyal. Earth loves comfort and luxury. They want equality and plan for the future. They may be a loner. They never feel like they're doing enough, and are demanding and critical. So I'm going to scroll up and see who has a lot of earth. So Melanie has 2 earth. Alina has 2 earth.
Yeah, I'm recognizing myself.
Yeah, it's that Lisa has earth. It's feeling like you're never doing enough.
Yeah.
Ileana has 2 earth. It's that part of us that, yeah, that we never feel like we're doing enough, that we have to do more, that perfectionism. Earth loves comfort and luxury though. Like it's the earth signs that when they travel, they often go to the same places, they go to the same restaurants. They like to have that regular routine. They want equality and plan for the future. They may be a loner. They do definitely like their alone time. They never feel like they're doing enough, are demanding and critical. They worry about they worry and want money, status, and to be of service. They may suffer from being perfectionists and worry about not getting it right. They should on themselves. I should do this. I should do that. I should do this. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I should really be doing this. Yes, I should do that. Right? So they're shooting on themselves instead of just allowing, like, oh, what do I want? Right? Instead of coming from that place that you have to do it, that you should be doing it. It's from, well, what do I want to do? How do I make it joyful? So some of the questions to ask yourself, and if you want to journal right now, you can. How do you accept the ebbs and flows of life and allow change to be easy? So as I'm teaching this to you, you are going to get this handout, but also this is part, as I said, part of the module of the Intuitive Coaching Academy training. So if you have a client who has a lot of earth and is hard on, like earth people are hard on themselves, right? They go into overwhelm and they put pressure on themselves. And so as a coach, we would ask them some of these questions. How do you serve others while still serving yourself, right? You have to look after yourself and put yourself on that to-do list, but not into the way of overwhelm, not into the, oh my God, this is another thing I have to do. I have to meditate, right? You don't want to look at doing these things from that place. You want to look at it, oh, I get to meditate. How yummy is that? I always make a cup of tea and get some dark chocolate and I set the timer and make it yummy, right? Where you don't want to add to your to-do list. You don't want your earth people around you to add to their to-do list either. What is their relationship with money? How do you believe you deserve abundance? Can you follow through on manifestation? A lot of times earth people will get on that hamster wheel, right? And they have idea after idea after idea, but it's never quite good enough to put it out there. It's never quite good enough to get off the hamster wheel and really to do it and to put themselves out there. Can you follow through? Oh, that's what I just said. Can you do the practical? Do you deserve to upgrade? Do you make lists? And sometimes maybe you feel, maybe you've been teased for your list making, right? And so how do you give yourself permission to keep doing that, to keep making lists? So notice when your criticism is preventing you from moving forward. You may feel stuck, exhausted, and feel like you need to do it all by yourself. Have your
You want to say that we are more overwhelmed and we should select from what we have to do. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, so this is the permission slip. It's a guilt-free card, permission. I will learn to be comfortable, to take risks and let go of worrying. I will allow myself to relax, be spontaneous, find joy, and allow things to not get done. Bask in your accomplishments. It's okay to be slow. It's okay to be slow. Like I'm a fire sign. I'm always like, if I'm out for a walk, I'm usually in front of people, right? And it's like, oh, right. I need to allow them to be slow and to slow down myself to walk with them. Allow yourself to try new things. Do nothing. Act on an impulse. Enjoy the journey. And it says do nothing because quite often earth signs, like they have their to-do list. If they're not doing anything, they're feeling like they're not getting stuff done. They're not accomplishing what they're supposed to do. And so it's that permission to do nothing, to sit and read, or to just sit and do nothing. Practice asking for help. This is a great thing to do for you is if you have a lot of earth, practice asking for help, asking your partner or somebody that you live with to get you a cup of tea and just sit there and notice what comes up, right? You're going to want to jump up and do it, or you're going to want to jump up and help them, or, and they are the helpers. They're good. They mean well, and they want to help. All right. And make a list of all that you're doing so that you can notice when, so you can see all the stuff you do in a day. So make a list of all the stuff that you're doing, and then you can reflect on it and go, holy shit, I do so much, so much. Who was going to say something?
I was just going to ask, when you say you're an earth person, is that your sun sign or your moon sign? Or are you talking about all four of them and how much more you have one than the other?
Yeah. So you added them up, and how much do you have? Which one is your predominant one? So which one is yours, Sarah?
minus, I think it was water.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Candace, I have a quick
We
question.
have all of them in all of us. Sorry, go ahead.
So my main four are all different. They're all the elements, but the rest of my chart is pretty well all Capricorn. So does that make you more earthy?
You have a lot of earth. Yeah.
Okay.
That means you have a lot of earth. And so you would relate to this. You know, were you the one that had like 5 elements in Capricorn, but you're an Aquarius?
No,
Okay.
I am a Capricorn.
Yeah, you're a Capricorn. Oh, you are
Yeah.
a Capricorn. Who was the one that was Aquarius that had 5 planets in Capricorn? So
I have 6 planets in Capricorn.
okay, maybe yours is the one. And I was like, holy
Saturn
cow.
is Aquarius.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, because you have so much Capricorn, and it jumped out at me because my son is Aquarius, but he has 5 planets in Capricorn. And I was like, wow, this is a similar chart. So you have all that. So you're going to be super successful because you have all of that earth, but then you have the Aquarius. So the Saturn is the Aquarius. So the Saturn wants you to think outside of the box, right? So that's the one that you're wanting to do.
Right.
It might change if you knew what time you were born, just because, Leslie, your ascendant would be different. Okay, so that's Earth. And I know I'm going fast, but it's only an hour class, right? An hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to move on to air. So who were the ones that had the most air? Leslie,
Because I am born in August, but so mean because I'm Virgo, I'm officially Earth, but also calculating, like you said, Sun, Moon, Saturn, and Ascendant also have 2 Earths. That all the time is coinciding or not?
No, it's not. No, yeah. So you have more Earth. So so that last one you would relate to, the Earth one.
Because from the beginning, if it's Virgo, it means that it's Earth, because you have the Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, it's Earth. But after that, if you calculate Sun, Moon, Earth, Ascendant, again 2 Earth. So it's the same like zodiac.
Yeah. Yeah. For you it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's move into air. So Janet has 2 air. Okay. All right, so the air signs they're smart, they're independent, they love freedom. Air signs are the thinkers, are curious, talkative, and observant. They are gracious and inclusive. They move a lot and are funny, chatty, spunky, and curious. They have a great sense of humor and a strong desire for harmony. They think outside of the box and have a need to learn. They are the storytellers and have a need to get their point across. Freedom is extremely important to air signs. They're spontaneous and fun to be around, can sometimes get their messages confused in their mind. They are hard to predict and think things are confusing, right? So because they're so intelligent, they learn a lot and then they get a little bit confused because they're learning all these different things and it kind of gets muddled. And so sometimes they feel like they're confused. They're hard to predict and they think things are confusing. When bored, they want to move on, right? And so if you're at a party and you're talking to an air sign, they might be chatting, but then when it's your turn to talk, they're moving on, right? Because they, not always, but they're like, they got better stuff going on in their head than what you have to say sometimes. Though they often are the listeners as well. If they're really developing their air, they can be really good listeners. When bored, they move on. Things are better in their minds. They're super original and spontaneous. They love to be around other people and can sometimes be codependent, often busyness to avoid feelings, right? So sometimes they don't want to go into their water, which is the feelings and the emotions. So they get really, really busy. Debbie said, this is so scary. This is so scary, so accurate. They may have a challenge manifesting their visions. Again, same as earth signs. The earth signs get on the wheel and can't get off to manifest, where air has so many ideas. And so they want to learn so much, right? They want to take a lot of training and a lot of courses and they learn so much. And then they don't have the earth or the fire to really get things manifested. So the questions are, how do you honestly express your thoughts and words? Do your words match your truth, insights, and thoughts? Do you allow yourself the freedom to think for yourself? What are the ideas you're trying to communicate? Do you want to take a class or new training, the Intuitive Coaching Academy training? Have you read a new book lately? They're usually the ones you want to ask. What's a good book to read? Ask your air friends. Can you become aware of the negative self-talk going on in your mind that keeps you stuck? Right? So there's that negative self-talk that, oh, I don't know enough. I need to move on. And can you accept your airhead qualities as endearing and not judge them? So all three of my children are air signs. And, you know, so it's helping them get a little bit more organized, right? It's like, because I tell the story a lot, but my youngest son, when he was going to university and still living at home, he would start his car every morning inside the house because we live in Canada and it's cold. And then every day he would go out and get into go towards his car and then have to come back in to get his keys. Every single day, he'd have to go out and then come back to get his keys. And so that's just part of who he is. So getting himself more organized helps him because he's super smart. It's not that he's an airhead and doesn't know things. He's super, super smart. He just forgets. Jamie, I'm the funniest person I know. Spend some time exploring the core beliefs that you repeatedly tell yourself. Are those words that you keep repeating in your mind helping you or holding you back? And the permission to talk from the heart. Less is more. So talking from the heart, but then knowing when to go into silence, to be a little bit quieter. Why am I telling this story? Asking yourself, why am I telling you this story? And I do that as an intuitive coach as well. You know, I'm telling you the story because you can relate to it, or hopefully you'll be able to relate to it, right? So being aware of that. Yeah, and the air likes to talk. The soul loves to listen. So again, as an intuitive coach, if I get an air client, I'll let them talk, right? Because it's like air conditioning for the air signs. They just need to get it out and they need to tell their stories and get it all out. All right.
Is it like this? Sorry to interrupting. Is it so? Because my mother was like this. She's not dead now, but she was a bit like that. They want only they have the right when they are talking.
Yeah, totally.
And nobody else, only she. It's like a boss.
Yeah. Anybody else have any feedback they just want to add quickly? Debbie, you said that you really related to this. And Jamie as well?
I don't have a lot of air in my chart. The only air I have is my Saturn. So most people in my life, my mom, my niece, my best friends, my sister, are all Geminis.
So you like to be around the air. Who is this? I can't find who's talking.
Nikki Fournier.
Okay, Nikki, yeah. So it could be because you have all of that Capricorn that you want the air around you. You need to have the air around you.
Mm-hmm.
Have that Gemini energy. Debbie, are you still here?
But what do you mean by air? You mean that the people from the air, that they need more space for to decide? I mean, which way you mean that?
Well, because your main planet is, or your main element is Earth. So now we'll let someone with the air share.
Okay.
Debbie, were you going to say something, or somebody else?
I was. So it's Jamie. This is 100% me. So my tagline is that I tell people I'm so outside the box. I'm 3 boxes over waving at people. Like I'm so far out there. And then my partner, everything, I could relate to everything. And my partner says, like, when I start talking about a story, my brain goes so fast that he's like, wait a minute, you're confusing 2 stories at the same time. You need to slow it down. And it's true. When I talk, it's like I go so fast, and even now I'm probably talking fast, but it's like it's just my brain is spinning faster than I can bring it out my mouth.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
It's 100%. Yeah, this is 100% me. I love it.
Yeah. And so practicing listening, right? Like practicing, like consciously going, okay, I'm going to be quiet right now and I'm going to listen. But then your head is probably like, okay, I'm going to move on. Right? Like, okay, this is boring. I got to move on. And so do you read a lot, and do you take a lot of courses?
Yeah, I actually read quite a bit, and I have a lot of courses. So I'm a natural health practitioner, and my wall is full, and I don't even have all my certificates up. Like I'm definitely love to learn. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, good, awesome. All right, thank you. Okay, let's move on now to fire. And I know we have a lot of fire in this group. As I was pulling up charts, I'm like, oh yeah, there's lots of fire people here. So I know Michelle's a fire, Heather's a fire. Who else has, Val has fire, lots of fire. Okay, so fire are enthusiastic, energetic, and optimistic. Fire signs can be impulsive, inspirational, and fun, and they love to have a good time. They need to be physical, active, love to be outside and in nature. They are courageous, independent, and bold. They may have a temper, adventurous, and can be daredevils. They playing with fire, right? They are good friends and good-natured. They love to travel and are a catalyst for change. Generous with time, money, and energy, will attract, oh, I have a spelling mistake there, people and situations that will benefit self and others. They have this gift, the gift of intuition, and are the philosophers. They can be impatient, bossy, and attract drama. They are great teachers of life and love to laugh. They're competitive and attract competitiveness. So they because they have so much fire, they might be not as competitive as they appear, but then other people will be competitive with them. They need recognition, are blunt, and they put their foot in their mouths. So the questions to ask your fire sign is, what kind of energetic shift, transformation do you want to have? Where is the source of your passion for this issue? What are potential conflicts that may arise, and how will you address them? Do you give yourself the right to joy and passion? Do you deserve to be happy? How can you be sensitive to others and embrace the emotional side? Is it okay to tell the truth even when it's hard? Can you be in a relationship and not lose your freedom? Can you be gentle and remain powerful? Can you stand for yourself without being demanding or judgmental? Heather said, yep, that's me for sure. Nikki said, or Jill said, Nikki, being that your Saturn is in air, this is your teacher. Oh, the air, okay. Permission to make mistakes, laugh at yourself, and enjoy spontaneity. So this is that permission slip, right? This is what I'm talking about, is that for each of the elements that we may feel the shadow, right? We may feel embarrassed and, that we put our foot in our mouths, or that we need recognition, that we're blunt, that we're competitive. But then it's like, here's your permission slip to make mistakes, to laugh at yourself and enjoy spontaneity. Know that you're here for big things. Permission to be bossy, right? Let's change that way, that languaging. We're not bossy, we're leaders, right? I can use my off button and know when to stop. I love changing. I can let my soul shine bright and enjoy it. I know that being big, independent, and successful doesn't make me too big to handle. I have the courage to be disruptive, and I don't care about getting in trouble. All right, so Heather and Michelle, who else is fire? Shirley, I think you have some fire. Nikki, so you go ahead and unmute yourself, any of you, and just share how that relates to you.
Yeah, this is me. I have 3 fires. My favorite line is in the bottom. I don't care about getting in trouble. Thank you for this. This is really good.
Yeah, and it's having the courage to be disruptive and have the courage to, be big, right? And because so often, and especially, first of all, women, and then especially Canadian women, I know not everybody here is Canadian, but a lot of Canadian women, we're known for saying sorry all the time. And so it's like being bold, being that fire isn't really approved of, right? It's the patriarchal, women should be quiet and all of that kind of bullshit, right? And so it's like, no, I own it. I own my drive. I own that I'm here to do great things. I own that I own that I like recognition, right? And just owning those things around it. Yeah.
For sure. Because I'm so bold and blunt about the way I phrase things. I'm often told, can't you be a little nicer about things? So now when people ask me a question, I say to them, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth. So do you really want me to answer that? And that became my motto. You know, it's hard because you're not supposed to be so blunt, but I don't like people that tiptoe around the bush. So
yeah,
that's life.
yeah.
Take me like I am.
So
Yeah, and what I love too, Heather, about you is that you bring it through the heart chakra, though, right? Like it's like, I mean, and then also we do need to be able to say we're sorry, right? Fire signs need to be able to say, you know what, I'm sorry, that was a little bit harsh, you know? And I come into these kinds of things and I always channel like, okay, come through the heart chakra, right? Come through the heart chakra so that it comes through nice.
So true. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
my ascendant is fire. What, like, does
Who's
that
talking?
Sorry, it's Brianna.
Okay. Yeah, so your ascendant is fire. So that means when you go back to what ascendant means that's how people see you and how you're here to show up in the world is that. It's how people see you. They might see you as a little bit more fiery. And what's your predominant element? Water. Yeah, we're getting to that one next. Okay.
Candace,
Yes.
this is Janet.
Hi.
Candace, I'm embarrassed to say I recognize the Boston attract drama. Okay. But what I found very interesting and a light bulb that has gone off, I'm 57 years old. And whilst I've never been, I'm very competitive. So thus prefer group type sports, networking, etc. But what I found a light bulb moment is the attract competitiveness, because throughout my life, I've sort of, it's been like a subconscious thing as why is this person so hard towards me? What is it that I'm doing that we're not attracting amicability, that sort of thing. So, you know, that has been a lovely moment of realization now that what I was probably doing was I wasn't being competing, but they were probably competing against me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100%. It's because you're showing up so fully, right? You're showing up, you know, you have a big energy, you have a big presence, right? And so when you walk into the room, there's a big presence. And so then some people are competitive towards that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we want to move on now to water. We don't want to miss water. And Melissa had to jump off, but she's just all water. I was like, holy cow, she has like 5 planets in Pisces. So water, so again, who are some of the water signs? Myrna. Okay, so just, you can even just put it in the chat. Okay, Sarah. All right, so water is deep feelings, emotional. They're super, super intuitive. They are the psychics. They are the psychics. Water signs can be private, calm, and still. They are extremely spiritual, intuitive, and have psychic abilities. They're connected to all of their feelings and emotions. So all of the senses, right? And I'm not sure when I did that meditation if I got them all, but you know, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, and intuition. They're connected to all 6 senses, right? So, you know, maybe you walk into a space and you can have certain smells, and maybe you like them, maybe you don't, or sounds can be irritating and annoying. It's like all of the senses, right? Oh, that light's too bright. And it's okay. It's okay to recognize those things about yourself. They can be, they're loners who need people. They need to have close emotional relationships, but with good boundaries. They're romantic, sentimental, and affectionate. They can be very nurturing to their family and friends, cooking and making the home warm and comfortable. They know intuitively what others' needs are and are generous. They need time alone and find pleasure in meditating, yoga, and prayer. They are sensitive to all of the senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, and intuition. They can overindulge and binge. Food, drugs, alcohol, sex, all of shopping, all of those can be addicting to cope with sensitivities, and they also can get depressed, right? So other elements, fire as well, can like need to numb out their emotions or what's going on, or the fire signs kind of more like to overindulge because they just love life and they love everything, right? So this chocolate's good, let's eat more of it, kind of thing. This wine is great, they like to party. Where water signs, they're doing it to help them cope with their emotions and their feelings. They communicate in nonverbal ways through art, dance, music, poetry, photography, and they love reading, but also nonverbal communication. So you really have to ask a water sign, right? Like, what's going on? And, they might get annoyed with you or get mad at you and even cut you out of your life and you don't even know what you did, especially if you're a fire sign. Can have fixed opinions and get instant gut reactions to people. I often tell this story about my sister where she's a water sign, and we were picking up my youngest son, and as we were going in to pick him up, the dad came out and my sister just went, oh, he beats his wife. And she just blurted it out, right? And I'm like, Vicky, don't say that. And then it turned out that he went to jail for that. And it was just this instant, she just knew, right? And so that's very common for water signs. Great listeners, they appear quiet, but are attentive and responsive. So some of the questions to ask your water people are, can you rest in the quiet of silence and solitude? Can you allow your instincts, feelings, and intuition to flow? Can you trust your intuition? Can you rest in the quiet of the silence of solitude? Can you ask for what you need? Support. And do you need music to soothe you? And the permission, I'll allow myself to be silent and listen deeply. My soul loves quiet. It's okay to be alone. It's important for me to maintain healthy emotional boundaries. I will celebrate my sensitivities, right? That is something that's very much, our sensitivities are very much considered a negative thing, right? I love the memes that are going around right now on social media that anger is an emotion, right? Like men have been telling us that we're so sensitive as women, but actually anger is an emotion. And when you're getting angry, that's part of it. And under anger is sadness. I will celebrate my sensitivities. I don't have to attend parties. This is the permission that you get the intuitive hit. I shouldn't go to this party. I shouldn't go to this party. And it's like having that intuitive hit that that you don't have to go. And I have a friend who has a lot of water, and she'll just say, I can't come right now. And it's like, okay, you know what? She's my friend. And I understand that about her, that it's her water and her intuition that's telling her that it would be better for her to stay home and not go. It's a pleasure to meditate, pray, and do yoga. I know how to do nothing on purpose. All righty. And then I'm going to discuss that a little bit. We only have a couple minutes. And then on here, I have the zodiac signs. So this handout is going to be sent to you tomorrow with the recording. So who are the water signs that this relates to? Lisa says, I'm a Scorpio and this resonates. Or who else was going to chat?
No, I was just going to say, it's funny because over the years being married to Dennis, I'd say, no, it just doesn't feel right. Like we shouldn't go or whatever. And it's taken a while. Like, I mean, we've been together 27 years now, but he's always like, if you don't want to go, we won't go. And I usually always want to go. So when I don't, he's like, okay, we won't go. And he really listens. And Brianna is really good about that. For sure. Brianna's my daughter, in case nobody realizes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's just having that, that it's like, this is your permission slip. Here's your permission slip. You can just do that. You don't have to justify it to anybody. And it's like, no, that's who I am. I make decisions like that. I follow my intuition.
And I definitely get the whole like being still with your emotions, because I'm not good at that. I don't like just like being silent or being alone with my thoughts for some reason. But I do know that I need to do it, and I need to start meditating and start doing yoga, because I do love, especially yoga. I haven't really done any meditating, but I do love doing yoga. It's just for some reason I don't have like this push to do it for myself. I don't know why.
Yeah, and that is the water sign. They don't often have that push to do stuff. And then you need to tap into your fire to make yourself do it, or your earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I laugh because one thing with Brianna is that people have always said, oh, I didn't realize how nice and sweet you are. I always kind of was like, oh, and it's because she has that for fires up front, but she's the sweetest, kindest person, but that's out front for her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm not.
Okay, so Lisa said, I'm a Scorpio and this resonates. I became an art therapist because I am kinesthetic, very sensory and sensitive. I think I feel this is true. LOL. Yes, yes, yes. And you'd be so good at it, right? Because then you're coming through with all, well, and your intuition is always guiding you, always telling you. And then sometimes, like I know a little bit about your story, that sometimes then you're maybe disappointed about in your intuition, right? You might get a little bit into, you know, like, damn, I didn't follow that intuitive guidance, or I didn't, you know, I knew that was going to happen. And yeah. All right. I want to be really on time today. How was that? I know it was quick and short and sweet. I'm going to be sending you the recording as well as the handouts tomorrow, and then the free or the discount on the training if anybody's interested. If you book book a complimentary clarity call for the Intuitive Coaching Academy, then you get an additional discount from the early bird price. So that's going to be in there as well if you book it from that tomorrow. Anything else anybody wants to add before we close this circle?
Candace, it's Janet.
Hi, Janet.
Candace, you know, I've picked up attributes in all the elements. So if I study the chart you actually gave me and all the planets, and I pick out the signs there, the elemental signs, would I be correct in saying, this is why I feel an attribute in earth or water, etc., etc.?
Yeah.
Am I making sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's just close our eyes. I see a lot of people had to jump off, but that's okay. Let's just take a breath and sink into that main element that you have right now, whether it's earth, air, fire, water, and just loving that part of yourself. Just bringing your hands onto your heart center and just loving the water, the earth part, the fire, or the air that's within you. Because you are amazing. And that part of you is the uniqueness that you're showing the world. And that is such a gift that you have. So one more breath. And then bring your hands together into prayer. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you all again. My next masterclass is April 14th, and it's on intuitive card readings. And we're going to be using my deck, Yogini's Guide to Intuition Oracle cards, and they're available on my website. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.